Thanks. Hi, I'm Paul. Most of the pictures you're going to see were taken by me or my partner, Janet. A few were sourced from family or other sources. Virtually any one of them could be a 5-minute talk on its own, but as this is Ignite, let's go. These are pictures of my parents living and working on a kibbutz before and after the creation of the State of Israel in part of historic Palestine. The kibbutz was founded by refugees from Nazi Germany. So Israel was central to our family life, even when I no longer attended synagogue. My Zionist inclinations were reinforced by the anti-Semitism I met at Cardiff High School and on the streets of Cardiff. After school, I spent a year in Israel being trained as a Zionist youth leader. That's me showing my legs on a trip to the Negev desert. Once we were taken to march with the army through the Arab territories conquered in 1967, waving flags and singing nationalist songs. I came home very disillusioned with what Israel was doing and supporting those who wanted to exchange territories for peace. But this was only ever the dream of a minority. Israel never intended to do any such thing. Skip forward 45 years, including more years of living in Israel, army service there, and many visits. In April 2015, this is the view from our Tel Aviv hotel, the image that Israel likes to project: modern, vibrant, energetic. Janet and I are there for a week's walking in the West Bank, which is under Israeli military occupation. But first we go to my parents' old kibbutz to see their surviving close friends, and we visit my cousins in Jerusalem. In Jerusalem, we also meet up with Ahmed, who had been a postgraduate student in Cardiff. He lives in Silwan. It's a crowded town where residents, business owners, and even mosques are served with demolition orders, while Israelis seize properties for mini-settlements. This separation wall runs near Ahmed's home. What used to be a short walk to see family now takes a 40-minute drive. Ahmed's sister takes 90 minutes to reach her job in nearby Al-Quds University. We stayed at the guest house of Talitha Kumi, a Palestinian school near Jerusalem. The school is Christian, but is open to pupils of any religion, unlike the segregated Israeli education system. After our friend Monica flew in from London, we set off for our week's walk. We wanted to avoid any places where there were regular clashes, the checkpoints where Palestinians have to wait for hours, the occupied centre of Hebron. I wanted to see what was left of a countryside, to understand life in the West Bank villages. Our visit was also timed to catch the wildflowers at their peak, and you can see some of those pictures I took here. But it doesn't always work out as planned. On the first day, you are going past the danger signs, and on our first day, we had to make a hasty exit when this gunman started firing outside the cafe where we were eating. Before that lunch, we'd visited Balata refugee camp and the Church of Jacob's Well. 6 Israeli settlers beat up this priest in his own church. They broke his skull with an iron rod. In hospital, the Israelis charged him with assault. His predecessor was murdered by settlers who have often attacked the church and its priests. He has prepared his own tomb. The next morning, we went to the Samaritan village near Nablus. The Samaritans consider themselves to be the true Jews and generally live in peace with their Muslim neighbours. We did do some sightseeing, and we did indeed walk from place to place with our excellent Palestinian guide, Hijazi Eid. I had never heard of the village of Duma until we walked there for our first overnight village stay. But the world was soon to hear about Duma when extremist Israeli settlers set fire to the Dawabsha family home, not far from where we had stayed. 18-month-old Ali died in his cot that night. Both his parents died subsequently. Sure, I was going to say something else there, but I've forgotten. Happens. The next night we went to stay with Fadi in Kafr Malik. In 2008, her son was shot by Israeli soldiers and left to bleed to death on the ground. No one was allowed to come to his aid. His picture has pride of place in their home. As we travelled to stay with Bedouins at the Dead Sea, we passed this large village demolished by the Israelis. Perhaps it will become another Jewish-only settlement, illegal under international law. There is an active Palestine solidarity movement in Cardiff. Further information about the group can be found on a table near the exit doors tonight, or come and see me later or get in touch. Thank you very much for listening.